We are Journals Out Loud from the Journals Network. I am your lovely and captivating host, Louise Palanker, here with a panel of wise and wonderful young people.
I've been out there wandering.
Yes.
I've been
In here, wondering. We're Journals Out Loud, and we're doing casting tonight. We have casting callbacks. All of these wonderful kids are Hollywood professional peoples, and they've come to the show tonight to share their wisdoms with you. Josh, tell us a little bit about this casting process. Everyone's going to get to have a sneak peek of what it actually happens behind the scenes when a show is casting new talent.
Yeah, so tonight we have 8 people with us from the casting that we did last week.
They're our favorites.
Yeah, they're our
Right.
favorites. And we're going to be having 4 in the seats that the regular panel sits, and then halfway through the show we're going to switch.
Side out and rotate.
Yeah.
Our team is really great.
And basically you're going to firsthand see them on, this is the first time they've ever been in these seats.
And we want to know what
So-
you guys think. So go into the comments and say, yes, I think this person is like delightful and I like her outfit. About Jilly, yes. And I think you're going to be voting Team Jilly because Jilly has an announcement that's going to thrill and captivate. Go, Jilly.
Thank you. So, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my announcement is I called my grandma today, as one does,
As one
you
does.
have to do.
Oh, yeah.
And
I call your grandma. I
Oh.
mean, yeah. Oh, she's scary.
I mean, yeah.
You
So
need-
I called her today, and she asked what was going on. And I said that I was coming, obviously to the podcast. And she goes, "Oh, Journals Out Loud. I love Journals Out Loud." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, I've been listening and watched like all of the episodes." And immediately I stopped and was like, "What did I say on the show?" Because I don't know what my grandma wants me saying about relationships and dating. And but then I was like, "Oh, I guess it's fine." And she said she loved it and watches. So
Your
shout
grandma.
out to Grandma Margot.
She's our fangirl.
She is a
She's our
fangirl. So if
fangirl.
my 8-year-old grandma can watch and listen
And
then-
learn.
she was very interested in Snapchat.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And how it's kind of become a dating app. And I was like, that is a great, it's very interesting.
Maybe she could teach me how to Snapchat.
I don't think she's on Snapchat. Let's hope not, because then I would be a little alarmed. But
All
yeah.
right. Well, bring grandma's name is?
Margot. Grandma Margot.
Shout out to
Grandma
Margot. Come to the
I'm
show.
sure she's listening.
And we'll have her as a guest on the show
Oh, she
very
would love
soon.
that.
She can do like third round casting callbacks. Okay.
I'll let her know.
So we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. Just please say from my left on your right, say your names and introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Lolly.
Lolly.
Hi, my name is Shunhua Sing. Sing like sing a song.
Hi, my name is Vedavit.
Hi, my name is Heaven.
Yay. And so these are our first 4 panelists. And would you like Lolly to read the first question?
Sure.
Why not?
So there's a new guy in my school that I kind of like. I followed him on Instagram, but he didn't follow me back. So I unfollowed him. Sometimes he stares at me when I pass by. We made eye contact for some seconds. I kind of feel chemistry, but he doesn't approach, and I won't approach either. Because I have never done that and I don't know how. I don't get this guy. Why does he stare, and how can I get him to approach?
Thoughts?
I think that people kind of, stress over the unfollowing and following. She did say that he's new. They don't know each other. So I'm thinking maybe he didn't follow her back because he doesn't know her. I mean, if you kind of get around a person, like he never talked to you, you never talked to him. It's kind of like, well, I don't really know you. So maybe that was a reason, and it's kind of a little bit over exaggerated. She's kind of taking it too much to heart. So I think she should definitely try and talk to him, and I think her outcome will be great.
Yeah, I think right on spot with that. And I think also he may not be as invested in social media as you. Like for me, I don't really check out who follows me that much. I just let them follow me, and then I don't follow them back. And so unless somebody asks me to check out their page, and then I do check out their page, or if a friend is following me and I'm right with them in that moment, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to check out their page. But otherwise, I don't really look at people who are following me. So he may not even know you followed him if you didn't especially if you don't know him. Which one?
Vedavit.
Yeah. So the kid is new, so it's like you can't expect him to approach you because he's gonna be kind of shy. I've been new every year of high school. I've moved from freshman year to senior year, so I know how it feels to be new every single year. And it's like when it's not easy. If he could like you, but he's not gonna try to show it out because he barely knows you. It might not feel right. He might not feel like he knows you well enough to like you. He might think you like someone else. So it's hard to tell. So that's why you should just approach him, get to know him better, and see what happens there.
Yeah. And I think it's because he's new. Maybe he doesn't want a date right now. Maybe he just wants a good friend. So
What happens if you comment and be more of like a little bit of more of a presence on his Instagram rather than just unfollowing?
I think that will have a bigger impact of him like seeing your page instead of like following and just like expecting him to look. But if you comment, I definitely think that he would look at your page because he'd be like, who's this? And kind of look through your profile and be like, hey, I see her sometimes at school.
Well, I think if a girl is so shy or so self-conscious about whether a guy is following her back or no, she's going to give a lot of second thought about whether I should comment or no. Like, I know I wouldn't comment if a guy didn't follow me back.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Julie?
No, but then you have to be careful, though, when you're, like, to start on social media, because if you then see him in person and all you've done is kind of, like, comment back and forth, it can get a little awkward. So I would say in person, I think, is a little bit better than the social media, because then it can get hard.
Yeah, and do you think that people are using social media as, like, a way to kind of, like, scoot past the awkwardness of talking to people that you find romantically attractive, and that kind of you get to a certain point and it's like, oh, I have to bridge this gap. There really is no way around this. At some point you have to talk to the person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I would do that.
Yeah, but have you guys ever experienced something like this where you had to push past your own fear?
Well, I did have a friend. We were just friends, but it was weird because we were just friends like on social media, but when we met up in person, like we didn't really talk. I was just like, oh, hi.
Can we text instead?
Yeah. You do your impression of the people in the last act of Catfish where they're just standing there like, oh.
Yeah, that's me.
No, for sure. Exactly.
The world's most awkward moment where they come out of the house and it's like, it's not the same sex as they were being online.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Surprise.
yeah, I really cared for you, but I didn't like my profile pictures.
They're just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, that show's the best. I can like eat it like ice cream. Yeah. Who wants to read the next question? Any volunteers?
I can read the next question.
Go for it, Jinx.
Okay. So, I'm trans, and I can never find a size girl who could be faithful and not bring me down for my dysphoria. Am I pronouncing it right?
I don't know. Is that word dysphoria?
Dysphoria.
Dysphoria.
And what's CIS? What's that?
It means it's opposite to transgender. It means like you identify yourself with your with your biological gender.
Well, what does the
Straight.
initials stand for?
What do you mean?
CIS?
CIS? I don't know. What
Anyone
does
know?
CIS stand for?
Okay. Got it. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I can never find a cisgender girl that could be faithful and not bring me down for my dysphoria and everything. Will I ever find a girl who could date a trans guy if he hasn't been transitioned yet?
Thoughts?
I
Kind of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think you will definitely find one. I think, yeah, it's just a lot of times it's about being comfortable with yourself. I think, from the way that that person is describing, about the situation. I think sometimes maybe, because you are going through the transitioning, you think you have a little bit of self-doubt. You think that maybe the reason why the person is not faithful to you is because you're trans, and sometimes maybe not. So just I'd say when you are meeting somebody that you're attracted to, be really open, bring this on the table and talk about it, And if they're 100% okay about you being transgender, they should be okay about the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You will find somebody. There's 7 billion people on this planet. And if one person's not okay with it, then there's going to be somebody out there. Just don't lose hope. That's the biggest thing I would say.
So I teach this comedy class in Santa Barbara, and this kid is trans, and they brought some of their friends, and they all are in this club together in Santa Barbara. It's a small town, and there's a club. So you look for clubs with LGBTQ for LGBTQ youth. Look for that online. Put that in the search bar and next to your town. I'm not sure of the name of this club, what it's called, but they may be like having chapters all over the place, and so there's so many kids like you don't even know. You're going to be so loved. You just have no idea yet, because you're kind of like trapped in your school and the immediate kids that are around you. But there's so many people, and the world, like Josh said, the world is full of them. So of course you're going to be loved. Of course, there's no question about it. Like, that's not even something for you to worry about. So many straight kids or CIS kids are like, who's going to love me? So it's like everyone feels that. And we all have, right? Especially when the one person that you love doesn't love you, then you're just like, oh. And then, everybody just feels this way. It's just part of being human. So, Jilly, you want to read the next question?
Sure. Okay. There's this guy I really love. Can you hear me? Here. He and I had a thing, but a week later he got with my best friend. It's now been almost 6 months, and I still love him. He and his girlfriend are having problems, and he doesn't love her anymore, and he has made that clear. This past week, he's been tickling me and flirting with me a lot and being sexual, and I don't know what to do. I really like him, but if I ask him and he thinks of us as just friends, is it going to be awkward help?
I like the way you raced to the finish line. It's a nice finish.
I mean, there was a sense of urgency.
I would say you probably shouldn't try to get with him in the first place, because it's just like your best friend just kind of went through with him. He didn't like you in the first place. He chose your best friend over you, even though you kind of had a thing with him initially. So it's, if he didn't like you initially, you shouldn't be the rebound in the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with what you said. I think that if you're somebody's second choice, I mean, this doesn't work out in the long run usually. And for what that the other aspect of the situation is also, this is your best friend, and they're currently still together, and you're also coming in between that. So, do you really want to be responsible for everything that's happening in that relationship and possibly lose a friend over this guy that you think you love, that you probably don't, because it was a week? Lolly?
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's kind of like that saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. So if you're his second, you're always going to be his second. And I feel like since you kind of liked him and he kind of didn't want to go with you, and that's your best friend. So I think you should just kind of find someone else if you're interested in them.
To me, I would have to say you have to find a new best friend and a new guy to like, because first of all, if your best friend can do that too, then they're not a real friend. And you shouldn't go with this guy, because if he left you in less than a week, then he's going to do that to you again.
Yeah, I mean, something similar happened to me, and it's hard because there's jealousy involved and there's a lot of different things involved, but it's so messy, and it's so not worth it. Just be her friend. Stop talking to him. Like, that's not a good idea. That's a little bit awkward if they're dating, and I just think that you have to just back away from the situation completely. It's so messy, and you don't want to be involved.
But you know that feeling when someone you like is flirting with you, even if they're dating someone else, and it's so tempting not to just be flattered and excited about it. Mm-hmm. And you're in the same friend group.
Yeah.
Feel really good about yourself.
I totally understand. I noticed that you are using the term love, just using the word love, and that's a strong feeling. And I can imagine being seeing that guy dating your best friend every day, seeing a lot of them just being together would just always give you a heartache. But you might, from the other side of it, if you look at it, maybe that's the reason why he just becomes more and more desirable for you.
That's a good point.
You couldn't have him.
Yeah, just right on the outside.
Yeah, like she said, you're probably liking him just because the fact that he's dating someone, that's probably what's making you think that he's more attractive now. And this is just not right at all. You should probably, if your best friend, you can't really be best friends with her anymore unless you go talk to her about your feelings. You kind of have to share with her now if you still want her to be your best friend, because what you did, even though I know it's a feeling and you might not be able to help it, but it's just wrong. And you just got to let her know how you felt about her boyfriend and just try to get some type of, just try to talk to her about it, let her know about how you felt about him and that you're sorry for it, or it's just the fact that you just couldn't help it. But
You know, I often say that sometimes the hard thing is the right thing, and you do need to tell this guy to stop flirting with you, because that just needs to stop.
yeah, definitely.
As much as you kind of crave it, like you can't, that is just not something that's going to ultimately make you or him very happy. Like he would have to completely end something and then have to take a year off. And then you guys have to like graduate college before anything would ever happen.
Yeah. Plus, it takes a while for someone to even get over someone. So if he didn't, like, his girlfriend broke up with her and then went with you, you know he's not truly over her. I mean, it takes a while, especially when people were in love or are in love. It takes a while to get over that person.
And this is just messiness.
Yeah.
So you can't build anything on messiness. It just sinks.
Yeah, it's like, even if they do get together and she just forgets about that best friend and everything, it's like this whole relationship is going to, the foundation of this relationship is just going to be this situation. The fact that you liked your best friend's boyfriend.
Structurally unsound.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to fall somewhere.
No integrity. Yes. All right. Vidavid, would you like to read the next question?
Yes. Is it bad to drink alcohol as a teenager? Not like a ton, but a few sips. I'm just wondering, because plenty of teens I know do this.
Oh.
And
Go ahead.
That's like the answer is. Okay, so of course drinking it's illegal, so I can't advise that for sure. And but if you're kind of craving for it, I mean it's could be better to do this now rather than going in college and then getting all crazy about it and just trying to drink as much as you can now that you're finally 21, and that could lead to problems. So it's better you just try and you just forget about it then.
Yeah, I would also forget what I'm saying. That's what I was going to do.
Are you drunk?
Are you taking a food sip?
Again?
Come back to me.
I have something I can say.
Okay, Jilly.
I'll take it over. No, I would say that if you have like an older sibling or like a cousin or somebody that you trust to kind of talk to about like teen drinking and like what, you know, that means and how much alcohol is too much alcohol, because I think that it's an important conversation to have with somebody that you trust that's a little bit older. And then if you are going to drink, do it in a controlled environment with somebody that you do trust. If your parents are cool with it, you know, talk to your parents. I think that definitely don't be one of those people that goes to a high school party or a college party and gets blackout, because it's so dangerous and like it's so bad. So just, I would say talk to somebody. Josh.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, so you asked if is it bad, and I want to relieve you of it from being it's bad, because at the end of the day, it's just something that happened, and you'll learn from it however which way you go. You're not bad for doing it. It happens. Now, if it becomes a habit, that could be a little bit more there. And like Jilly said, find somebody that's you can trust and that will be able to supervise you during this period of time. If you truly need to feel like you need to be curious, be in somewhere where you can be safe doing so. Don't just go off on your own and then whatever.
Maybe there should be more instruction for introducing kids to alcohol. You know, we just say the drinking age is 21, but they go off to college and they have no idea how to do it. And so really bad things can happen, but maybe there should be some sort of situation where you sit down, like your parents teach you how to drive. So maybe they should sit down and say, have half a glass of wine, and then we'll talk about how you feel.
That sounds pretty cool.
Well, actually, I don't know if any of you guys know that, but if you are 16 in the United States, you can have a glass of wine as long as you're with one of your parents.
Oh, really?
So if you want to try that out, you have to talk to your
That's
parents
another
about
option.
that.
I didn't know.
You guys didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I did not know that. It's too late now. It's too late now, but
Mom.
Look it up. But yeah, because when you learn how to drink from other drunk people, it's just not a good recipe. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to do it under supervision, because if you do it with a friend, it doesn't matter how much you might think you trust them. It's just the fact that they're also underage, and so and especially if you're both getting drunk, that's definitely not going to lead to anywhere good, because you can make irrational decisions at times. There's been many criminal cases involved where just people just make bad decisions, things happen, and you know, at the end, it's either gonna end up in you're gonna either severely harm yourself or you're gonna be involved in some type of criminal case because you just didn't know what you did.
Like, and I even know young people who didn't drink until they were 21 and still became an alcoholic because once it mixed with their body, it made them feel so confident and so good that one drink or two drinks makes you feel like, oh, another drink would be a great idea. And it's actually not. That's your drunkenness informing you rather than your rational mind.
I personally, like, from just like a smell of alcohol, anytime like I'm near like a casino or anything like that, I just wouldn't try it at all. I mean, it just smells horrible, and I would personally never drink for sure. So
there's nothing tasty about alcohol. The only thing that makes alcohol remotely reasonable is like a lot of lemonade or something sweet in it, and then that's even more dangerous because it sneaks up on you because it feels like you're just sipping some sort of juice, refreshing beverage.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I also want to put out there that I think is important is if for whatever reason you're thinking of drinking alcohol is because your friends pressure you to, I think you should totally go against drinking alcohol, especially if you're not even the one that came up with the thought. Whatever they're doing, what they do shouldn't like be what you should do just because your friends are doing it. Like, if they say it's cool for them, but that doesn't mean it has to be cool for you.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely no reason to fall into peer pressure at all. If your friends tell you to do something, I mean, it might feel hard of what they think, but forget what they think if you think they're gonna hold it against you. Usually they don't. It's happened to me before where I was like pressured to like try drinking or smoking something, but it's just like I won't try it, and just because I just know I won't like it. There's nothing good in it, and of course it's just illegal. And you know, drinks wise, it's just the fact that I'd literally just rather have a soda or orange juice. Like, I'll have an orange juice.
And
I
want to say that's really cool of you because I feel like there's more pressure on boys. Yeah. Even then, I think it's easier for a girl to just be like, nah, no.
Yeah.
But for boys, it can be like they can be kind of mean to each other about this stuff.
Yeah, and adding on what I said earlier, I think if you're going to do it out of curiosity, not because you're trying to fix something or trying to get rid of your feelings or because of the peer pressure. Just really just do it because you're curious about it, because they're doing it, or just because you're curious and not even have to have a reason. But as soon as you start getting reasons is when you maybe shouldn't do it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Or if you find that you're more confident when you have alcohol, then that's your cue to get more confident on your own without the alcohol. Yeah. And I also want to add that since teenagers have limited judgment to begin with, and this has been scientifically proven that until you're 25 years old, your judgment isn't always the best in terms of events and consequences. Alcohol just exponentially multiplies your impaired judgment. And so you would get in a car with someone drinking, you would have some guy on top of you who doesn't know the meaning of no. And these are the ways that you would physically be in danger if you drink before you're really old enough to be reasoned and drinking carefully and appropriately for the safety of everyone concerned. Jilly.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. You're like, right. Sorry. I would also say that there's so many other factors that go into putting alcohol in your body. Like if you're on medications, everyone's tolerance is different, and that's stuff that they're not going to tell you at a doctor because they don't think that you're going to be drinking if you're
how
under
much
21.
You've eaten.
Right, how much you've eaten. There's so many different things, the type of alcohol, where you're getting the alcohol, so talking to somebody is really, really important.
Very good. All right, so I hope we've addressed. It's a really good, interesting, complicated question, and I hope we've addressed it. Would you like to read it, or who hasn't read yet?
I don't think I have.
Oh, Josh.
I was like,
you're the one who said, like, I hate reading. Me and my boyfriend.
Okay. Me and my boyfriend got into a huge fight last night. He's been texting me rude stuff. He told me he's going to find someone who is actually attractive and not fat, and someone who doesn't need makeup to look good. He always brings me down, and he knows it shuts me up when he talks about my appearance. I'm really insecure, and now I don't want to talk to him. What should I do?
Don't date Donald Trump.
Oh, definitely don't.
And, because he's married and doesn't respect women. My opinions. Go ahead, Sarah. Get really close to that mic. Yeah. It's your boyfriend. You can get close.
The first thing that I'm pretty sure everyone probably started thinking is get yourself a new boyfriend.
Definitely get yourself a new boyfriend.
You do not
Definitely.
need that negativity inside your life. And if he's texting you that kind of stuff, like, the best thing that I could say to you is, like, text him back. You're right. You can get a new girl. I can get a new guy.
Right.
See ya.
Exactly.
And I think you know the answer. You answered it yourself in the paragraph. You said, I don't want to talk to him, then don't. I think we all deserve to be with somebody who makes us feel beautiful. And that's just the nature of a good relationship.
It really is, and it's someone who makes you feel beautiful, especially when you don't have makeup and you're just like, aw. Because, like, they'll come up and kiss you even like you just got out of bed and you feel like, oh, this is the only person that would, and I found him. You know, it should be that, like, well, I don't have to be perfect because he just loves me.
Yeah.
And that's when you know you're with the right person. The moment that happens, you're going to be like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. I get it.
Yeah.
Who else has a thought? Jilly.
I mean, you know, it really made me think of The Bachelor in Paradise when
Wow. Wait, clarifying. Jilly and I can relate everything
anything
back to The Bachelor.
So can I.
I mean, it's like it's one of my many talents.
Sure.
But you know, it just made me think of that one scene where she doesn't really like him, whatever, and then that
Carly.
moment, Carly.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? So when
Yes.
she says, and she's like gross and sweaty or whatever is happening in that weird tribal thing, and
With
she's
Evan.
like, right, with Evan, and she's like, he looked at me like I was the most beautiful person in the world when I felt like I was not. That's the kind of guy you need to be with. This is not cool. It's not okay. Even if he's mad, like it's messy, and that made me think of that. And since, you know, I base all my relationships off of Bachelor in Paradise, I think that it's just not right.
I mean, it's a good benchmark. Yeah. And also, Carly was really cute in that scene. Like, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was.
I would also say, like, adding on top of everything else, because I completely agree with everything that's been said. Don't take it personal either, because he's something about him he's very insecure
He's
about.
insecure, yeah.
So I would just say, like, he's saying these things, and that doesn't mean or have to feed into your insecurity. I know you say you have it, and if the best thing would be is get away from the things that feed into it.
What's that
So-
movie? Is it Wallflower?
Percy
Yeah,
Wall.
and the quote in that movie is like, you accept the love that you think that you deserve. And so that's
yeah.
like a really great quote.
Yeah, so Lolly, you want to?
And so you need to know that you deserve better than this guy, right?
Yep.
Who wanted to talk?
Me.
Lala.
First of all, that's my show, Julie. Just saying. That's my show.
That's our jam.
Yes, it is.
jam.
And I totally agree with Carly and Evan. And even like in the beginning, Carly wasn't really into the relationship, and Evan was still going hard. I'm going to get Carly, like, this is the one I want. And I think that he's the one that made her feel like no other girl is beautiful. Like, when he looks at me, I know he's not looking at someone else. And honestly, I think that's how a boyfriend should treat you.
Yeah.
And for him to even say that, like, you need makeup, like, she doesn't need makeup. Like, everyone's beautiful, and that's how he should make her feel.
Beautiful.
Exactly. And I also think if she actually really does need makeup to make her feel girl, then wear makeup, because I love makeup. I'm a makeup fiend. That's what I do. So, I mean, if she needs makeup to make her feel good about herself, even though everybody's beautiful in their own little way, she should wear makeup if that's what she likes to do.
No, I agree absolutely, but I feel like he's being emotionally abusive in the way that he's speaking to her, because she should wear makeup for herself and not feel like you have to wear it.
Right.
I mean, how do you feel from the guy's point of view?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she shouldn't have to please the guy at all for what she does. The guy should love her for who she is, not fall in love with a superficial appearance of her. So it's her choice to wear the makeup or not. If she wants to wear makeup because she feels like it makes her feel nicer, then definitely wear it up. You know, for guys itself, I know for me sometimes I like to comb my hair nice if I'm going somewhere out. You know, so it's like hair, like it's like for girls makeup, for guys hair. I'm guessing it's like usually a thing. So it's like, you know, so sometimes I don't care how my hair looks when I'm going to school and stuff like that and on a regular day, but sometimes I gotta look more presentable and I like to comb it up, even though I like who I am, I like how I look in general. So
I like how you look in general. But I want to say that, like, what's woven into this question is kind of he's pressing her buttons. He knows he's wounding her. He's using his words as weapons, and that's, to me, problematic.
Well, I think this is a really good question because it raises this debate about the gender dynamic about teenagers today, like how it's a mindset that for some boys they can attack or use their criticizing a girl's physical appearance to use it as a power tool. Like I can just give judgment about whether you're beautiful or no, so I have certain kind of power over you,
Right.
which is a mindset that we should all get out of.
But it takes girls being strong
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to lose the guy and to understand, like, you don't need this particular guy. And that's so hard if you think you're in love with somebody.
Yeah. And I think that the guy should really think about what he's saying, because there are some girls who aren't strong. There are some girls that take it to heart. And guys just say it without thinking. Some guys, they just say it and they don't understand, like, what impact it could have on a girl. And she could want to change who she is, everything, just because of the little words that you said.
Well said. All right, we're going to swap. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put 4 more kids in the stools. So
This could get interesting.
take your headphones off. Take your headphones off first.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
I'm seeing.
Well, thank
always a
you.
great
I
thing.
even though I didn't look at my camera.
All right, I'm going to start out with the first question. My friend is starting to act differently now that she has a boyfriend. We've been friends for almost 10 years, and it feels like we're starting to drift apart. She always picks him over me. What should I do?
I have so much to say.
Sam?
All right. So, my best friend, since like pre-K, decided to date my guy best friend. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's awesome. As soon as they got together, they both dumped me out of their life completely. Now, a best friend is supposed to be someone who's there for you, who always has your back. If they're going to ditch you for a guy, you need them out of your life. They're just a waste of your time. Chances are that when they break up with that guy, they might come back to you, just like my friend did to me, but not worth your time. If they're going to dump you now, you don't need them in your life at all, because they're not going to be there for you when you need them.
Grace period, though? Grace period? Like 2 months of, like, gaga, maybe? No?
Maybe.
Maybe? I mean, like, how long did this go on? The whole time that she was dating him?
Yeah, and they've been together for, like, 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she dumped me for, like, 2 years.
Oh, yeah,
Started
no.
to come back. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Not
no.
okay. Not okay.
I mean, I have been the friend of the friend with the new boyfriend.
Oh,
Sorry.
you were that girl?
I was that girl.
Okay.
So I got in a serious relationship before the rest of my friends at the age of 16. So I was the person that kind of ignored my best friends because I was so obsessed with him.
That's what happens.
Yeah, but now we live together and I'm like, I've seen enough of you. But the thing was, they told me, like, hey, that's kind of like not cool what you're doing, you know, like we were best friends and now you just like don't even talk to me. And I was like, you know what, you're right. So my best advice would be to just talk to your best friend. If they're your best friend, they will hear you out, they will listen. And if they can change, then that's for the best. If not, then I'd say, you know, start looking for a new best friend, which is always a horrible thing to have to do. But, you know, in life, you just kind of got to start over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to what Gabrielle said, you know, maybe she doesn't even realize that she's dumping you for this guy. A lot of times, especially with girls, what we tend to do is we get so hung up on a guy and we're blinded by love and we're doing all these things with them and having a great time and we don't even realize that, hey, my best friend is right over here, you know, I'm neglecting her. So I think really if she truly is your best friend, talk to her, tell her, like, this is what's happening, this is how I feel, and if she really does care about you, you've been friends for 10 years, like you're saying, that's a long time to hold a friendship. I've never had a friendship that long, so consider yourself lucky. She'll totally understand, and she'll, you know, try to balance out that time, and if she doesn't, then she never really was your best friend anyway.
Okay.
I kind of think that this goes with, like, if it's like, okay, it's your best friend, so you also have to be able to see from their perspective, like, if this is their first relationship, obviously it's really difficult for them to both, like, focus, like, if you have experience in it, you're going to be able to, like, separate, like, okay, friendship time and, okay, time for my boyfriend. I actually know a lot of groups, and in those groups, a lot of conflict within them, and this usually revolves around the whole, like, oh, they just got their first relationship, boyfriend or girlfriend, now they're starting to, like, ignore us. And if it's something in the case of your best friend for 10 years, like what they said, you have to talk to them. That if it seems like they're ignoring you, that means because they can't see it. So you have to be the one to open up their eyes and be like, you have to realize that even though you're in this relationship, you can't forget about us. So this is just something that you have to talk to them about, and also give them the courtesy, just in case they're not experienced in the whole like, oh, well, this is what it feels like to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tack on something else?
Yeah.
My friend in my scenario, she straight up told me, she said, I don't need you in my life anymore. I have my boyfriend now.
Oh, that's different.
If your friend doesn't straight out say that to you, chances are she doesn't know what she's doing. So just don't be afraid to confront her on it.
Yeah. Sarah.
My experience really wasn't with my best friend. It was more with my actual cousin, who dated my ex-best boyfriend. I got them together. And yeah, they kind of dumped me, but yeah, she was extremely mean with it. And I wouldn't say she was the best experience ever, but I would also have to say to you that it doesn't matter if it's like blood related or if it's best friends. You know, you guys still will have that connection in the end of the day. And if you just feel like in your heart it's not right, then, you know, like, look at me. I broke off my cousin that was a year ago. We haven't spoken.
You broke up with your cousin?
Yeah, we broke up.
Wow.
I literally
Do you have to go down to the city and make that official?
If it doesn't feel right in your heart, just, you know.
It's like a little
you just
snip
it's
in the
gonna be
family tree.
painful, but you just
Cut off that
you
branch.
just gotta drop them out of your life. Like I said before, negativity is not welcome in your life. You'd be a lot better without it.
Yeah.
Also, like, a huge part of having a healthy relationship is having separate lives from your partner, you know? So, like, this girl clearly does not know how to separate that. So I'd say she has somewhat of an unhealthy relationship if she can't have her friends and have her boyfriend as well.
Yeah.
Because then you make time for both.
I think what you need to do, though, unless it's like something as abrupt as what happened to you, is like you kind of need to say like, oh, I'm so excited to hear about everything and I miss you. Make it positive rather than, I'm needy and I don't want you to be happy. It's... They're excited, so be excited with them, and they're going to want to have their best friend for the most part. It's like unhealthy if someone is saying, I only want my boyfriend, because that's like a codependent. Your friend was sort of falling into like a codependency thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is not what, we all want for each other. I want to go around the room and have you guys say your names, because I don't think we introduced you to all of our viewers. Go ahead.
I'm Gabrielle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tatiana.
I'm Kai.
Everybody's got these amazing names. My name is Sam.
Hey, that's still a great
cool.
name.
Sam's a good name.
Oh, thanks.
Every name is unique.
Sam, would you read the next question?
Sure. Oh,
This is weird.
This one. All right.
Sorry, but it's...
The question is, I want to have sex with a guy. He's 14 and I'm 12. What should I do? Okay.
Goodness.
I could start this one. I've got another story for this.
Go ahead.
So, very, very good friend of mine. She was 13. Her boyfriend was 17. They were absolutely in love. There was so much sexual tension, so they went out and they did it. He ended up breaking her heart. She, to this day, regrets it and wished that she had waited until she was older. Now, I'm not saying that 12 is too young. 'Cause, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've all had sexual thoughts when we were that age.
I'm saying it.
But just wait until you're absolutely ready, or until he starts to show interest in you. I mean, because it's not a huge age gap, but when you're that young, it's like walking on eggshells. You don't want to make the wrong decision too quick because you have the rest of your life to make that decision.
I would definitely say 100% wait. You have your entire life to experience things sexually, but at 12, like, it's not something that you need to do. It's normal to have thoughts about it, but, you can just wait. That's my best advice.
Chili.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it worries me, like, how the question is phrased.
Right.
Because it's like, I want to have sex with a guy, and then you kind of say something about him. And, like, I know that there's a lot of pressure. I mean, this is young to have a lot of pressure. But I think that there's always pressure about, like, if all your friends are having sex, and what does that mean? And, like, you cannot fall into that. Because until you're ready, like Sam was saying, it could be such a bad experience. It can scar you for a long time. And it's always better to wait and be sure and make sure that you have all the knowledge that you need before, you have sex with somebody. Because 12 and 14 is so young. Like, you don't realize until you're older how young that really means, in this kind of a situation. So I'd say just wait it out, and there's no rush.
Right. And and I've said this before in the show, and I'll say it again. there is so much to risk when it's kids this young engaging in sexual activity because you are not emotionally ready for what happens to you. You're not physically ready for what happens to you, and you don't understand how to protect yourself emotionally and physically. It's the reason there's so much teenage pregnancy is because kids don't know how to use protection. And so it's sort of like when we were talking about drinking earlier, it's like almost the younger you are, the less you should be doing something. And I know that there can sometimes feel like there's pressure to do something, but it's really, really dangerous. It's something that you will always regret. And it's no one really ever regrets waiting to have sex. They do, unless they wait until they're like 70. Then they may be like, I should have done that. But you can definitely wait until you're 18 and in a loving and committed relationship with someone who is putting your safety as a priority. There's no 14-year-old boy who knows how to keep a 12-year-old girl safe during sexual activity together. There's just no way that anyone is putting you first in that scenario. It's somebody wanting to experience something and using you to experience it, and he should be waiting too. He's also too young. Any other thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like if he's pressuring you to have sex, then he's not the right person for you. I know you didn't mention if you guys were dating or not, but I would personally end that relationship if it was me. You're way too young. You're in middle school. You haven't even been through high school yet. I'm in high school, and I still feel like I'm too young to even, take that step. And it is something that you will regret because you're so young, you have no experience. And do you really want your first experience to be with a 14-year-old? I mean, and also with boys as well, you have to think about it. You could be thinking that you're in love with this guy, and, he could go straight to his guys and tell him like, oh, hey, yeah, she's free. I did this and this with her. So it's really important to just kind of be aware of that kind of stuff as well. He may not be genuinely into you and just using you for that purpose. I know, I don't want to sound really mean, so I hope you don't, take it personally. But, I'm just trying to look out for you, and hopefully you'll make the right decision to stay abstinent until you feel like you're ready and you meet a guy who loves you for who you're on the outside and on the inside. And when you're ready, you'll know it. So
very good.
So can we just take a moment to address the elephant in the room, that it's actually illegal to even
exactly
this
exactly
and honestly, when I was 12, I was still in 6th grade, so I was busy worrying about oh my gosh, my mom's gonna get mad at me for getting a B on the spelling test. Hello, I didn't have time to be worrying about sexual desires.
And that should be
yet.
your biggest concern at that age.
Oh yeah, anything. Okay, school and your parents and your your friends, your buddies. That's what should be important. Not you
or
shouldn't
am
yet
I
be
pregnant?
thinking. Yeah, not am I pregnant at 12? No, that should not be a thing. And one thing that I also saw online as a recommendation or a tip is that when you get to the age where you are ready, you may think that you're ready, but here's the test. Go out to the market, and if you buy a condom, if you feel embarrassed or nervous, you're not ready yet. That's it. That's
I
it.
like that.
Very true. That is a good test.
That's a good test. I think too with the law part of it, really looking at the situation instead of, oh, I really love him, I want to be with him. It's just do you understand what could happen to him if you did do this? The law is the law, and he could be put on some lists for the rest of his life. You could be in trouble. Everyone in the situation is not going to be happy if someone else finds out other than the two of you. So
and the two of you will be the least happy.
Yeah,
I feel.
And so at the end of the day, just obey the law is a good rule. I mean, you can.
Sex isn't going anywhere.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's gonna wait for you.
Wait, Sam was next.
Sam.
So she doesn't want to go? Okay.
Yes, get up there. Use that mic.
So, I don't know if I'm the oldest guest here tonight, but I've graduated from college, and so I've been through all of that. I have to tell you something that
Get closer to the mic.
A lot of times when I was in college and seeing, all of my friends going through relationship things, sexuality things, the conclusion is I miss all of the years when I haven't had sex yet. It's the greatest. You have all of this fantasy about your sexuality. You have all of the things you don't know yet. It's still mysterious, and it's not, once you do it, it becomes a whole different thing. It's totally different from imagination, and I feel like the feeling of being a teenager, haven't experienced that kind of, or when I was like that feeling that I had toward, that curiosity I had towards human sexuality is the thing that I miss a lot.
It's the years of yearning.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of builds up who you are as a person.
You don't want to lose that too early.
Yeah. You need that. It's essential. Very good point. All right, Kai, would you read the next question, please?
Okie dokie. Hold on a second.
I know this happens to you, so.
Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah. Every day. I'm just... Is it normal to wake up and just cry for no reason? Sometimes I just wake up and start crying, and I feel like crap for the rest of the day. Is this normal for a teenager, or is this something else?
Go ahead, Gary.
Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
I think as a teenager, it's normal to have hormones that are going crazy. So your emotions are going to be up and down all the time. But if this is a consistent thing of every day you're waking up and crying, and the rest of the day you're just like, I hate my life, definitely get help, because that is not normal. I mean, it's normal to have those emotions, but you should definitely receive some sort of help.
That's good. Sam.
Teenage angst is a thing. We all go to bed crying. We wake up crying. It's just, we're hormonal. We're emotional. It's what we do. It's who we are. Like she said, if it's consistent and if it's really starting to bother you, it could be a little more than just your regular teenage hormonal changes. But if you just wake up crying, it happens to all of us. I've done it all the time. I did it yesterday. Like, it's just something that happens. It's completely normal.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with what Gabrielle and Sam said. I mean, on the other hand, if it's something more serious and you're feeling this every single day and every moment of your life, I would definitely seek out some help from like a trusted adult or your parents if you feel like you can talk to them, and really just kind of like figure out what's going on. It could just be like a hormonal thing. You know, we're all going through puberty and we have mood swings. I know I have mood swings like crazy, and my mother has to like whip me back into shape sometimes. So, you know, so I mean, hopefully it's that and it's nothing serious and it's just, you know, something you're going through at the moment. Sometimes when we get stressed out a lot and, you know, with like have all these million things buzzing in our mind, it can get to us. I've been stressed out a lot of times and I feel like, oh, I'm gonna die, and, you know, I wake up the next morning, you know, feeling completely different. So, you know, just kind of chill, relax, do something for yourself, you know, if it's like taking a bubble bath, watching a movie, retail therapy, and, you know, I love shopping, so like that's my go-to thing, and yeah, just, you know, relax, have fun.
So I have to tell you this one adorable story, which is I'm a kid where there's 3 girls in my family, and there's a house a few houses away. There's 3 girls in that family, and for whatever reason, we called them up and said, do you have any female supplies? And the mom came over with female supplies, and I opened the door, and she just looked at me and she said, some days you just feel like crying and you don't know why. She's handing me the pads. She was like trying to relate to me and like let me know that, you know, however I was feeling was okay. And I just like, that's a snapshot that stays in my head of like, just like a lady talking to a little girl and trying to let her know that like how you're feeling is completely normal. And I just thought that was so sweet. I wish there were more like grown-up ladies that did that.
Back to getting help, a lot of people are worried or concerned about going to a therapist because that makes them crazy, even though it definitely doesn't. So if you're worried about that, definitely call. There's so many helplines out there that it's totally anonymous, so they won't know who you are, you don't know who they are, just to get your voice heard and talk about what's going on. Because if you're just holding it in, it's just going to keep building and building, and that's why you're crying every day, because there's something going on even if you're not really sure what it is.
It could be just hormones of a normal girl, but if you're always sad and if you really feel despair, then call a helpline. I mean, it sounds like the question is just asking, am I okay? If that's what it's asking, we've all woken up and wanted to cry. But if you really just feel like you are not in a good place, then then go to teenlineonline.org. It's a great helpline, Teens Helping Teens over there, and they will help you get the next level of help that you need. Josh, would you read the next question?
Yeah. Please tell me if this is a good way to ask a girl to prom. I'm going to get a blank white t-shirt and write, will you go to prom with me on it? And there will be 2 check boxes for yes and no. And on the bottom, I will say, P.S., I brought you some flowers, and the flowers are actually a box of flour.
Clever.
So it's kind of funny. Is this a good idea?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say I don't think there's any bad idea for prom. The fact that you're asking out someone anyway is like a good thing in my opinion. I think it's really cute. I think it's really simple, in a good way, and it's like just really grounded. And I think it's not too out there, and it's not going to make you feel embarrassed. But at the same time, she's gonna love that you were thinking of her and you really went out of your way to do something special like that. So I definitely think it's great, and I hope everything goes well, and I hope she says yes, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time at prom.
I think it's really creative and definitely different and out of the box. I think that's really going to stand out to her. Like, wow, this is something I would have never thought. I thought it was real flowers. This is hilarious. So I think it's definitely a good idea.
Go ahead, Kai.
No matter which way you ask, any way you ask, honestly, it's considerate. Not only that, because you actually asked the person, especially the person probably doesn't think anyone would approach them in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And what you're saying that your plan, it's actually pretty funny. If I was the person, I'd say yes, probably. But like for me, for instance, I honestly just walked over to my friend and I was just like, do you want to go to prom with me? Because I know a lot of people are pressured on how it's like, how extravagant can you make your promposal? I think I saw a video online where the guy went to this girl's on the swim team and he like goes onto the top of the diving board and like dives all the way down while she's in practice, then has the sign and like ready to go like that. I know a lot of teens, you're thinking like, I got to think of the best way to, ask this person out. And it doesn't matter how you ask them, just as long as you ask them. It's just the fact of the effort that counts. But that being said, you have to also be prepared for the no, just in case of that. Yeah.
I would also say I had a great prom ask, was very blessed. But I would also say the guy went to my friends and asked my friends, like, what I like, thank you, and made sure that I would want something in public, or that I would want something, because it's this is a risk. The humor factor could be very hit or miss. She might not be, think it's as funny. Like, I would just talk to her friends and say, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Like, do you think that, she would get this? Do you think she would want to go with me? Because I know that, like, at least for my school, we all went through our friends and didn't tell them. But it was really fun to, like, plan something with the guy for your friends. So I would say maybe talk to her friends and see.
See if you're going to get a yes.
Yeah, and also make sure that, like, that's an ask that they would appreciate and love, because some people I know, like, I had friends who were like, I do not want it at school, like, it's going to be so embarrassing, whatever, so I had to go and, like, talk to the guy and say, this is what she's feeling.
Like, and I want actual flowers, not a pun.
Right,
Who doesn't like a good pun, though?
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Sam.
As a girl who never got a promposal, I would think that this was incredible, and I absolutely think that you should do it. I have a great sense of humor, and I would think that, like, a physical box of flour was awesome. Chances are I'd probably want to see you again after prom. But if she doesn't have the greatest sense of humor, show up with actual flowers. You can never go wrong with getting a girl flowers, regardless of who she is. She will love it, she will love you, and you will brownie points for days, my friend.
And we want to know how it turns out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tatiana, would you read the next question?
Yes. Okay. I hate people. I see a person, and if they look inferior to me or my friend in any way, shape, or form, I just hate them. For reasons I can't explain. Usually the people I hate are really nice, though. I literally yelled at someone today at school in my exploratory. What should I do? Okay, wow, that's an interesting question. I feel like personally, if you look at someone and you feel that they're inferior to you and you hate them for no reason, maybe there's something within yourself that you're seeing within that person that reminds you of something negative, and that's causing you to hate them. So it's an indirect thing, not a really direct relationship if you see them in, oh God, I hate this person. I don't think that's a really normal thought, and I think you should look at yourself first and figure out, okay, what is it about myself that I'm not very confident in, and what I would like to change or what I would like to improve on. And I guarantee you, once you fix that and you feel better about yourself whole as a person, you'll look at people and the first thing that won't come to your mind is hate, but just love. Spread love. Love is the answer for everything.
Okay, like the word hate, it's kind of, similar to love when you're describing with people. Hate's a very strong word.
strong.
You can say, I dislike this person. I won't lie. Like, for me, there are some random people I have no idea why. Like, they'll talk to me, even though they're super friendly, but I'm just like, can you stop talking to me? Like, I don't know why. And, like what Tatiana said, like, maybe you should really evaluate yourself. Maybe find out that reason, like, if you really think you hate that person or those people, why do you hate them? And the fact that you're calling them that they look inferior, like, you have to think about that yourself. Like, who am I to, like, be judging people? Like, you're inferior to me, I don't like you, like, that kind of thing. And, yeah, just look within yourself, because, honestly, you may think that you don't know why. Dig deep down inside, talk to a parent, talk to friends. Honestly, there's always a reason why, and you'll find it, but you just have to put in the effort for it.
Yeah, it could be something in them that you don't like in yourself. And also, additionally, I would want to say, when you feel like someone is on your last nerve, just picture that, like, you're in traffic and the car in front of you just won't move and you're just, like, screaming at this person. Cut to a year later, that could be the surgeon who saves your life. And so you just don't know who people are and what role they're going to be playing in your life. And so try to have an open heart and try and just, like, put a pleasant expression on your face. And that might kind of, like, talk your mind into giving people, like, more space to be loved by you.
Definitely continue what you said. You can't base your opinions on how people look. You need to give everybody a chance. And after spending some time, if you realize, hey, I don't like this person, you don't have to hang out with them. But you just got to at least try. That's the main thing, is just trying. If you're trying, you're doing something. You're being proactive.
Sam?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a people person either. I mean, every now and then you look at someone and you say, I just really don't like that person. I don't like their vibe. Their person just isn't for me. But like everybody said, you got to give them a chance. Regardless of who they are to you or how much better you might think you are, especially if you don't know them, put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if someone just looked at you and was like, I don't like you? You wouldn't feel very good. You don't know that person's life. You don't know what they're hiding behind their face. You don't know their story. So you got to give everybody a chance.
Learn their story.
Yeah.
Honestly, the universal phrase of don't judge a book by its cover is very relevant here.
Absolutely.
In most situations, too, actually, with people.
All right. Kai, would you read the last question, please?
Absolutely. My so-called best friend seems like she doesn't want to do anything with me. For example, Friday was homecoming and we had plans to meet up. I called her at least 50 times, but her phone was off. She got there a half hour before the dance was going to end. We hugged once, and she basically ignored me. I kept trying to talk and dance with her, but she just moved away. It's not just this time. She does this whenever we're in a group. If it's just us, it's fine. I spent more time texting my friend that I only see during the summer than I did with my friends that were there. Texting that friend was more fun than the dance. I'm just tired of people pretending that they care about me.
Touching.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that, first of all. I know what it likes to be, what it feels like to be in that position where, you know, you really like someone and you're trying to, like, uphold this relationship and they're not really into it. First of all, it's so mentally draining and exhausting, and honestly, if you're trying to put all of your time and energy into that, it's not worth it. Your friend isn't worth it. They aren't even really your friends, so you shouldn't use, I really don't use friend for a lot of people because it's such a strong word, just like love and haters, like Kai was saying earlier. So definitely don't waste any more time. It's obvious, you know, that letting you know, literally, that they do not want to be around you. Just leave them. Find someone else who you feel really likes you for who you are and who you know isn't going to, like, flake on you in the last minute, who isn't going to ignore your calls. And don't worry about that person. If she doesn't want to be around you, then it's her loss, not yours.
I agree as well. There's nothing else. Sorry. Sorry. I'd say at least give this person one more shot. If they're, like, a really close friend, be like, hey, this is how I've been feeling lately. Maybe we can try having a time with this. It's just us. And if that goes wrong, then I definitely say move on. You don't need to, like, hold on to this person that doesn't want you. I'm sure you're a great person to find so many people that love and care about you. You don't need to worry about the one person that doesn't.
There's one more interesting point about this person. He is a trans male, and his girlfriend may feel a little bit shy about dancing with him in public at the moment. So it's worth a conversation, since the public personality is different than the private personalities.
Yeah, I would definitely say to confront them. Maybe not in such of an attacking kind of way, but just kind of bring it up and be like, hey, what's going on? I thought we were good friends. But then another tactic would be to start ignoring her. Give her a taste of her own medicine and see if she comes crawling back to you. Because she might think that she can just take you for advantage, and that's not okay. Not okay at all. You can't just come and take a friend and have a friend whenever you need one. It's a mutual relationship. So if she's not going to be there for you, then you definitely don't need to be there for her.
And transgender is such a sensitive issue, and unfortunately we live in a world where people discriminate you because of that. And if she knows that you're transgender, and if she somehow found out, and you can see a pattern where when she didn't know before, she was more comfortable talking to you in public and she was fine, and now that she found out she's not so comfortable, I don't think she's the right person to be around you. She could lead you to start having self-doubts about yourself, and you don't want to be around a person like that gives you negative energy, gives off a negative vibe. You need people around you who are supportive and who understand what you're going through, and who don't mind, who don't, necessarily care about the aspect that like, oh, you're transgender, I can't be seen with you in public. So just be aware of that too, and let her know if if she responds to you in a manner that you feel, okay, this is not going to work out, then just leave her. There's 7 billion people in this world. You'll find someone who will love you just the way you are, so don't even worry about it.
Based on what I'm reading, just by the wording of this alone, it says that whenever you're in a group, she basically ignores you. And if you call her your best friend, but she does this, and it seems like she does this more than one time. At first, I thought it was just this one instance, but no, this is multiple times. If you have to talk to this person, obviously, right? When it comes down to it, talking is the best way of doing it. But what I learned from personal experiences, now it's different between a best friend and a relationship, is you have to also be aware that you may be putting in more effort and love, and that other person is just kind of not either noticing it or giving it back. And that can actually destroy you. And the thing about what Sam said about, starting to ignore them and have them crawl back to you, I completely disagree with that because I've seen it firsthand. Sorry. But it's just the fact that I've actually seen it where they ignore the person. That person starts feeling like they're not really cared for anymore, and they start to notice that, and they'll start crawling over to someone else. And before you know it, you'll lose that person. Even though maybe your intention, maybe you'll be fine with it, but if it's your best friend, you won't be, and it'll actually destroy you in the end. So definitely talk it out. And if it doesn't work out and you understand that just this can't work, then it's time to find a different best friend.
Sam.
I'm just kind of curious as to when the friends started acting like this based on when the transition was. If you were always trans or if this was a recent thing. If your friends started acting like this and you just transitioned, I would say just remove them from your life. Because if they can't accept you for you.
I think the disconnect here is that this person who's written in wants a romantic relationship. That's what I'm reading into this. Wanted to dance with the person, wanted to be publicly with the person at the event. And the person might be more comfortable just as a friend and not comfortable yet publicly romantic, even though they may really like the person romantically. But I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I just think there's some layers in there where maybe a conversation would be a good idea.
Yeah, it definitely would be best to talk it all out, see how everybody feels, if anyone's uncomfortable in this situation, because a lot of people can get uncomfortable in situations like this. So the best thing to do would be to talk it out, make sure everybody's on the same page, and just see where it can go from there.
And like based on that perspective, maybe it has nothing to do with the fact that you're transgender. Maybe she's just not ready to be in a relationship yet. And like Sam was saying just now, talk to her, see what she's feeling, and find out from her perspective, and all these things you could be thinking over. And like when someone does something and there's an action and there's a response to you that you're not kind of prepared for, you start to overthink and you think a million situations and a million scenarios and you start getting yourself worked up. And then when it comes time to talk to that person, you find out it's something so simple and it wasn't even anything like you imagine how it would go. So I would definitely talk to her, have a conversation. Maybe you'll find out it's completely nothing to do with the fact that you're transgender, that maybe she wants to just take things slow, and hopefully that's what it is with her. And yeah, just definitely talk it out, and hopefully everything will go okay.
Never assume.
I just think that was really similar to this. So I had a really close best friend, and all of a sudden she started not talking to me, like barely texting me in public. She'd be like, "Hey, how are you?" When we literally just sleep over like the night before. And so I confronted her. I was like, "Hey, like you've been acting kind of strange lately." She's like, "Oh yeah, well the popular kids," I'm just calling them that. That wasn't what they called themselves. Well, they said they don't really like you, so I'm kind of embarrassed to hang out with you in front of them. So
not okay.
So we can hang out in private, but in public, please do not go near me.
Not okay. 100%
And so
not
then
okay.
I realized if someone's embarrassed to be with you, do not be their friend anymore. I kept trying because I was in like 8th grade. I was like, oh no, don't even put in the effort. You do not, no one deserves that kind of treatment. So if you confront this person, they say something like along those lines, I'd say, all right, it was good being your friend while it lasted. Goodbye. I can find someone that loves me and cares about me, and you definitely do not.
So not worth it.
Oh yeah.
Those are good words to end on. Very positive. I want to thank everybody for coming into Casting Callbacks. You guys have been fantastic, and celebrate yourselves right now.
Thank you.
We are Journals Out Loud, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.